I got a question.
I got an answer.
I hope you do. Who's got questions on their slides? Great, great, great. You should have questions. Let's start with questions. What do you got?
I still don't know how to situate my numbers, and all the research I'm doing is basically populations of Hispanics.
Okay, what do you mean you don't know how to situate your numbers?
Like, I don't know, like, what numbers I should put where.
Okay, give me an example. Why don't you grab your business plan slides, your presentation?
Not prepared.
What's that?
I'm not prepared.
You're not prepared. All right, so the first thing you've got to be doing, which it sounds like you're doing, is you've got numbers.
Yeah.
You've got the raw material. So if you're confused with numbers, I'm going to sound like a broken record. You know what I'm probably going to say next. Come to me with the numbers. But can you think, is anybody else struggling with the numbers and situating them? If you give me a little bit more detail, I might be able to help.
For my market analysis, I was researching like the populations of Hispanics in Rhode Island.
Yep.
And like they show me like all the populations, but I still don't know like how to put that into like my.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, let's go through. So here's the funnel, and I'm gonna use Maryland. I'm gonna use you because you did this yesterday. So here's how this funnel you're trying to get to. At the bottom of this funnel, so this is good notes. At the bottom of this funnel, the number that you arrive to is the number of people who you think are gonna buy your customer. Buy your product.
Customer.
Potential customers. This number is the most whittled down number of here's who I think. I'm like so confident, so sure that these people are going to potentially buy my product. Okay. So the first thing we do is we start with the biggest, broadest population we have. And so say, let's just for the sake of this, we're going to do Rhode Island. We've got 2 Rhode Island-based businesses. There's about 1 million people in Rhode Island. In order to figure out the age breakdown and some of the ethnicity breakdown, you go to the Rhode Island Census. If you Google the Rhode Island Census and demographics, it will bring up a table for you with all different breakdowns of ages. And we can go through that. But so here's what you then do. At this point, you've got your total population based off of, here's the big market that I'm selling in. If it was America, it'd be 320 million. If it's Rhode Island, it's 1 million. If you're selling around the world, it's 7.6 billion people. But you ain't selling to 7.6 billion people. Not everybody's gonna buy your product. So we start with 1 million, and then we go to that 4-quadrant box on that slide. And that first one is demographics. So, Carla, what we do is we say, all right, we're looking at Hispanic. We're looking at Latinos, right? This is what we're gonna say is what we want, it's who we believe we're gonna sell to. Now, I'm gonna challenge you and say, that might be your primary target market, and remember we talked about it. So you might think, okay, primary, that's who I'm gonna go after. But I would say that there's many people outside of that group who are bringing Latino food and not so much culture, but certainly food into their lives, right? But if we go with the demographic and we say, okay, we're then gonna go to Google and we're gonna ask, you can do this 2 ways. You can say, what's the percentage of Latinos in Rhode Island? And you'll find an article, you'll find some nonprofit organization that's gonna likely give you that number. If you can't find that number, one thing to do is to go to a bigger market. Oh, okay, but I can find it in New England. And Rhode Island's a part of New England, so I'm gonna use that number. Did you come up with that number? Did you find it?
For the amount, there's about, I forgot the number.
Did you come up with a percentage? No? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you were to take this percentage, and let's just make up the percentage right now, 0.25. I take this million and I multiply it by 0.25. 25% of the Rhode Island market is Latino, okay? Again, we're making that up. Now we come down there's 250,000 people in that group. Let's just say, for whatever reason, this is targeted directly towards women. For whatever reason you found, and we find this in the card industry, that 70, 80% of greeting cards are purchased by women. Heads of households who are going out and buying the birthday cards for their kids, buying the birthday cards for other people to give. This is just the trend, so we say, okay, we're targeting strictly females. The world population is about 51% female. So we take this and we multiply it by, and I'll do it for me so it's easy, it's either 50-50, okay? 50% female, 50% male. So let's go multiply it here. So now what we have in this funnel, we got 1 million people in Rhode Island. Then we come down to, we got 250,000 people who are Latino. We've got 125,000 Latina women. And then we look at the census and we say, we're targeting people ages 18 to 35. And 20%, and this is in the census data, Rhode Island Census demographics, it's all listed right there. 20% are between the ages of 18 to 35. So I multiply 125,000, that's where I'm at, by 0.20, and I get, that's what I think, 25,000. Rhode Island, Latinos, Latino women between the ages of 18 to 35. And here, my friends, at the very bottom is where, so that was the demographic stuff. Here's where the psychographics, and that was the geographics, I'm sorry. Here's where the psychographics comes into play. That's that bottom quadrant on your slide. Now you go out and you do a survey specifically designed for Latino women in Rhode Island between the ages of 18 to 35, and you go and you hand them a survey that you designed. And it says, how likely are you to purchase authentic Guatemalan and Ecuadorian catering services for your upcoming wedding, quinceañera, party, whatever? And your survey comes back and says, a quarter, 1 out of 4 will purchase. 25%. 10, 25, 6,250. I think that's the right number. Someone can do the math. Yeah, that's the right number. Almost. Whatever. That's my funnel, all the way down. This last piece is a survey of you targeting the people that you've designed this funnel for.
What does that last number say?
6,250.
Okay.
1 out of 4 said, I would totally use your catering service. That's the funnel. That's how the funnel works, but you've got to find those little numbers all along the way. I don't have them. The internet has them, right? The internet has those numbers. Large Census Bureau, the Census Bureau has those numbers. Nielsen has those numbers. I mentioned this name to you before. And you and I working together will find those numbers. Okay. Next question. That was a good one on the placement to go through that funnel. There was more hands when we started. Who's got a question on those slides? Am I good to erase this?
Yeah.
You've decided, you know what, if it's going to be that boring, I'm not asking my question. If that's what we're going to get for asking questions, then I'm not asking. Truly. Any more questions? Yes.
So based off my research, I'm realizing that I have a lot of other potential competitors.
Yep.
And I'm wondering how I narrow it down to the few competitors that I'll actually present during my slideshow.
Yeah. This is a great question. How do you think you might do it? How are you thinking about doing it?
I was thinking of doing it by the competition that I feel is the most relevant, like the competition that I feel the most threatened by.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say the competition that you feel most threatened by, which will challenge you then to do what?
Be better.
To be better, but so yes, be better and be prepared to defend yourself. If you're going to put those competitors on a slide and present those to judges and let them know that there's some really stiff competition out there, you've got to make sure that you have found a way that you can compete against them. If you haven't figured out a way that you're going to compete against those competitors, I wouldn't put those competitors, I'd put the other ones who you really are competing against, who you think you have some competitive advantage or some differentiation, something that makes you more valuable, some service, some offering, so that when you present to the judges, you're saying, here are the ones who I think I can take down. It still might be, and here are two that are big risks, but the job would be to say, here are the big ones, and here's how I'm going to compete. That's the right hunch. The ones you're most threatened by, and then having done the work to say, but here is the place, the factor that I think that I can compete and what's going to set me apart and why people will choose me over them.
Okay.
Yeah?
And then, so I guess I can approach choosing my indirect competition in the same fashion.
Yes.
So like whatever I think would be the most threatening, that I actually have something to refute.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
It's subjective, right? I mean, it's still up to you. You choose which ones you're going to put on there. Subjective meaning it's your choice, it's your opinion. It's subject to change based off of what you believe. What else? I just like, if we were sailing and there was a big wind right in the sail, just the sails, just there's no more wind in the sails. The sails are just flapping around. We're sitting in the middle of the ocean and everyone's just getting totally seasick. It looks like you're all like, I just killed you all. I just checked you all out, yeah? Great, fantastic. I can't even get a response. Can someone speak out loud for me? Just say like, no, yes, we're done. I have no more questions. This is awful.
There's no more questions.
I think we're ready. Yeah, I think
we're ready to move on. Okay, so here's the thing. Words matter. You got to use your words, right? So, buzzwords. Who knows what a buzzword is? What's a buzzword?
A word people like to hear because it means that you know something if you use it.
It means you know something, maybe.
Kind
It
of.
means you might be in the know. A buzzword, anybody else? So a buzzword, some sort of word that says you know something. No?
It's a word that has a lot of attention revolving around it, but people may not necessarily know what it means, but they just use it because it's mainstream.
It's mainstream and it makes you sound what?
Intellectual.
Intellectual, intelligent, smart, makes you sound in the know. Business is guilty of a lot of buzzwords. A lot of buzzwords. Okay? So, one of the biggest buzzwords is synergy. Who here has heard the word synergy? Show of hands, synergy. About half the room has heard the word synergy. Someone please define synergy for me.
Isn't it a company?
It is a company. There is a company called Synergy. Yeah?
To work effectively in unison with something.
To work effectively in unison with something. I like that. I like that. Anybody else want to throw something out? So a lot of times in the business world, people are going to use buzzwords to try to move you out of a conversation, to speak above your head, right? So there's definitely some value in knowing the buzzwords, but then also knowing what to say. So, we're going to do a little activity, and it's called Buzzword Bobby. And Buzzword Bobby is a podcast that launched 10 years ago on Babson College campus.
Oh, God.
And the tagline of Buzzword Bobby is, anybody? You got it?
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Buzz, buzz, buzz is the word. Okay. Saying everything while saying nothing. Okay? So we're going to engage in a little bit of Buzzword Bobby right here. So, what do I got here? 1, 2, oh man, it didn't even... Here are the most common business buzzwords. And I'd like you to find a partner.
That's not even an actual coffee house.
You don't have to be right next to your partner. Just so everybody knows, I tried to print these double-sided, and they did not print double-sided. We can all say a little prayer for the tree that I didn't do a service to by pressing the right button.
I think you single-handedly killed it.
It's not nice what I did there. I'm not happy about it. Hello. All right, so here's how Buzzword Bobby is going to work. I'm going to be nice and give you 20 buzzwords that are the most common with some definitions. As you get them, just read up on them a little bit.
Oh God, the bleeding edge. People love to throw this out there. You know how many times people say bleeding edge? Bleeding edge.
All right. And here's how Buzzword Bobby works. You're going to familiarize with these, and then we're going to do a little competition. We're going to do singles, and we're going to do doubles. So first we're going to start with doubles. And what I want to do is this. You and your partner are going to stand up in front of us, and you're going to have a conversation as if you were on a podcast. It could sound something like this. We are so happy to introduce Giselle to the program, and today we're going to be talking about impact, because impact really is the most important thing when it comes to business. But when you start a business, you've got to make sure that you have something that is disruptive, because disruption is the key to a good business, and it's one of our core competencies. And so you're going to roll and you're going to go back and forth, and you're going to use as many of these 20 buzzwords as you can. While that's happening, because I just want to do stimulation overload, I am going to have a huge amount of buzzwords rolling on this screen like a teleprompter. So you can use your 20 with your definitions, and if you want, you can start just picking off buzzwords off of that screen as fuel. And whatever team uses the most amount of buzzwords, I'm going to be just voraciously checking off and making marks, is going to be dubbed the doubles winner. And then we're going to have our singles competition. It's like tennis, but I've never played tennis. I just know there's doubles and singles. 2 people work together, and then 1 person works. And then you're going to go up there, and you're just going to give us a talk as if you were giving us a TED Talk for 1 minute on your company using as many buzzwords as possible. So, here's how this is going to work. 2 people are going to get together. You're going to do a little interview. You're going to go back and forth. You're just going to have a business conversation using as many buzzwords as you possibly can. And then, next, people are going to go in singles, and they're going to go 1 minute. That was 2 minutes. And then 1 minute, you're just going to talk. You're going to give us the most buzzword-heavy TED Talk you can. Some people are going to love this. Some people naturally already do this. Some people are going to hate this. But that's okay. We're going to get through it together, which is why we're starting with double, so you have a partner. Double up. Talk a little bit about what you think your program is going to be about. Talk a little bit about some of the themes you might want to do. I'll give you 5 minutes to have a conversation, and then we're going to tag you in, and you're going to start the doubles. Yeah. What's a podcast? There's a good buzzword, right? So podcasts are essentially, there was the radio where they did interviews and they had radio shows, and then everybody got iPhones and they said, well, we should probably make radio shows for the iPhone, and because they're on an iPod, we should call them podcasts. And we should broadcast from our computers, and we should have our own internet radio show. Essentially, that's what a podcast is. Thank you for asking that. I appreciate that question. Because when somebody uses a buzzword that you don't know, the best thing to do is say, excuse me, I don't know that. Could you tell me what that word means? All right. 5 minutes, get with your partner, chit-chat, talk, and just so you know, I'll show you what those look like in a little bit when those words scroll. I should hear a lot of talking at this point. A lot of talking.
Do we have to work in
So
here?
corporate synergy.
You don't have to work in here. You can find a spot out there for 5 minutes to work with your partner. I will be talking out loud. Does anybody want me to do...
I want to know how to squat. How to do it.
Sean, do you and I want to do this together without any preparation?
Why not?
All right, Sean and I are going to give you an example of what we're talking about. All right, come on, step up with me.
It looks like it is.
As we do that, you go up there.
But not bad. Like it almost not right.
Put me on the spot, huh?
Well, as a graduate of E360. So this is what you're going to see on the screen.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow.
All right?
Okay.
Somebody's words on.
I am so glad to be welcoming Sean to my corporate synergy program. See, I really want to pick into your brain and get a real deep dive. So could you tell me what you do to incentivize and really motivate your employees?
Yeah, so we move on the needle. We gotta use these ones, right?
You can use these ones or you can use those ones.
So yeah, we really move on the needle. There's a lot of things that are concern, aspiration statements at the end of the day or at the day's end audacious. There's a lot of impact.
What kind of impact? Tell me about your impact. Really drill down into the impact.
So we have a lot of carbon footprints. We have a lot of
Speak loud. I like that. That's good. You got a lot of carbon footprint, which means
we have a big carbon footprint in this company. So we are currently polluting the world. We make aerosols where a lot of brainstorming, Brandon, and
yeah. Let me ask you this. So you're a big polluter.
Correct.
Do you think there's any low-hanging fruit in the organization that you could turn around some of that pollution to make it work for you?
Yeah, that all depends on amplifying.
Oh, amplification.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. So Sean needs to work with his words a little bit
Yeah,
more,
I need to work.
which you're all going to work with your words, but you might want to know what these are. As I'm just going to leave these scrolling. You're going to see these as you're preparing. Get a little bit of banter back and forth, know which some of the words you want to use, but you're trying to check off as many. Does anybody want to tag themselves in with me right now? Anybody want to go right now? All right, get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Oh, God.
Movie.
I don't even know where to start.
I like hate this like.
You gotta like ask me. You gotta ask me a couple questions with 2 buzzwords though. You gotta, the track.
Start 5 second minute interval. That doesn't really need like a buzzword. And then you can just go ham.
Be practicing out loud. Keep it going. You should be saying these words in conversation. I haven't heard your voice at all. You're chewing on a string.
I'm gonna be right
Come on,
back.
man.
Okay.
Let me hear. What do you guys got so far? It's gonna be how it is. You're gonna have 2 minutes to speak. If you reach like a really ridiculous lull in the conversation where you've both decided we're tapping out and we don't want to win this thing, you can end before 2 minutes. You can't end any time before a minute. Like I'm not gonna just sit there and be quiet. But if you get to this point where you're stuck and you don't want to go any further, you can bow out. You will be sitting in these 2 chairs. So you're going to be sitting next to each other, just having a conversation. You can have your papers in front of you. So we'll post people in and out of these chairs. So you'll sit there, you'll have a 2-minute conversation. I'll be in the back just tick marking off, just trying to get as many buzzwords as I can. And yeah, and maybe each time we'll do like a poetry slam when they drop a buzzword. Oh, wow.
That's gonna be terrible.
No, I think it might be too much. All right, so 30 seconds. Get your last little comments in, and then we're getting going.
Kyla, will you record
Yes.
this when I go off?
Rolling. All right. So if you guys could vacate the premises, why don't you scoot over here?
Vacate.
Scoot. Oh, but you guys are. No, we're gonna do it in reverse order. Are we? Yeah, we really are.
We really are.
We're gonna go chit and chat first.
Okay.
So you guys gotta scooch out. You gotta like sort of clear the area for them. Got a nice little area. And I'm gonna. Do you want me to roll the words? Are you using words or no words?
Yeah, let's roll them words.
All right, we'll roll those words. All right. And then I need this because this is my official marking paper.
What is it?
That's not mine.
We're done.
I need, hold on. All right, give me a moment. Excuse me for a second.
Just get
Okay.
a bottle of water.
This
and
is
casually
as
sip
fun
on it
as
with
it's
your
ever
nose.
gonna get. All right, so I gotta say it. I gotta ask. Please project your voice. I gotta get my timer. You gotta stop watching. Hold on, gather yourself. We're putting you on the spot here. It's gonna be good. We're gonna get a timer going. I got chit and chat. All right, quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. We are very excited to welcome in our newest podcast, Chit and Chat. We are pretty excited for what they're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, let's take it away.
Hi, so welcome to this episode of Chit and Chat. Today we'll be speaking about corporate impact. Today we have a guest, Jensley, and she will be telling us a little bit about her take on corporate impact.
So, corporate impact has an effect on people around.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to know a little bit about. I know Jensley owns a company that has. She owns a company where it's a carrier company where they drive loads of goods from one side of the country to the other side of the country. And I know that Jensley's company, Corporate Impact, has a lot of disruption in the economy. So what is your take on your company's disruption?
Well, we deep dive on a bleeding edge, so we keep track on. We reach out to successful people to make our business better.
Okay. So do you have any incentives? Do you have any incentives for your employees? Like anything to look forward to? Incentive?
Yes, we ping and connect to people who are interested in our business and how we want to take things.
Okay.
All right, that's your time.
Yeah, that was it?
Do you want me to announce how many? Oh, so this is important for me to tell you. You only get credit for each one. You don't get to keep saying corporate impact, corporate impact, corporate impact. So you got to use all the different ones.
Yeah.
So you want to know your total? Or you want me to keep it quiet?
No,
What?
I want to know. What is it?
You want to know your total? Or do you want to know? Let's vote as a class. Do we want totals like strongman, Ironman, so you know what you're trying to beat? Or do you just want to
Yes.
be blind going? All right, we're at 7. We're at 7. Score on the board is 7. Chit and Chat, you did a nice job going first. Jody, this is how we did it. We had everybody sign up. Chit and Chat was last in reverse the order, and everybody last goes first. All right, so who was going to be Kevin and Manuel? All right.
Nah, you did good. Good job.
Yes.
So if I use the word like disruption,
Yeah.
and then Brian uses the word disruption, does that count as 2 or does that count as 1?
If it's said by a different human, I'll give you the word. But if you just keep saying, yeah, it's per person, I'll give you, yes, you guys are a team.
Sure, that's per person.
All right, so we're resetting the clock, and whenever you want to begin. Loud. I got to be able to hear you.
Alright, welcome back to another episode of the Anime Talk. Today we're talking about Naruto Shippuden, episode 476. Today we're talking about the episode of Naruto and Sasuke when they did their final fight. We're gonna dive deep into this conversation. We're gonna think outside the box of what situation could have happened and unpack the secrets of this story. We're gonna reach out to my friend Manuel about the recent episode that just came out. You have anything to say?
I feel like that episode had a real big impact on my heart. It really unpacked my feelings. Like the anime, like it reached out to my soul. Like I felt such an impact just watching it. So like, and then the bandwidth got messed up. So like it started like slowing down, and like it was just the ping was up and down. I was like, you know what? Let me pause this for a bit. Took a break, came back. Yeah, and I dove deep inside the anime again. Started crying, Yeah.
All right, thank you. Let's circle back to the beginning and let's look at that big picture here. So when Sasuke and Naruto fought, what were the challenges that Sasuke was going through that you can see?
He was really on his bleeding edge. Like he was.
It sounded like he wanted to not take over the world, but trying to find peace in a way.
Yeah, he was thinking outside the box. He was really.
It sounded like he was really disruptive. It sounded like he had like a really sentimental moment. It's like there's a wheelhouse right on top of him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, nice job. Nice job. All right. Yeah. And score to beat is 16. Score to beat is 16. Nice work, people. Nice work. All right.
Thank you. You let me use it.
Debut and Mookie. Mookie's debut. That's the name of this show. Mookie's debut. Or whatever you chose. You just do you. All right, the timer is reset. We're ready for you whenever.
All right. So today we're going to be discussing how I feel on a bleeding edge on how we could turn corporate synergy into corporate millions. We need to drill down and see how we could grab some of the low-hanging fruit.
I think that all depends on how we move the needle. We just got to think outside the box.
We came up with the incentive that if we cannot make an impact, we will cause disruption.
We just got to reach out to people of higher power and got to fix our corporate synergy.
Maybe we could reach out to Brandon because disruption seems to be his wheelhouse.
I think that's a great idea. That would amplify everything. That would just make us the best company out here.
On the other hand, things could get out of pocket if we do not act on our core competencies.
That's a bold statement. We're just moving parts, and myself, I think that we can do this.
I find it interesting how you can multitask and read words off the screen while also sitting there while opinion ideas with me.
We just gotta, the idea, this company gotta be deliverable. We gotta do something to impact the society.
And I ideate that we formulate our plans by thinking outside the box, and it's not rocket science.
Exactly. We gotta be offline and online. We gotta be on the same page.
Or on your plate, my plate.
I think this is a good opportunity for us, and we can make a lot of money.
Yeah. And scene. Wow, nice job. Nice work. All right. 27 on the board. 27 on the board. Yeah, you gotta use that TV. I'm gonna
After the taping, maybe we just gotta start coming up with shit. And how your big helps you with character. Helps you stay calm when you sniff it.
This is actually a really good coping skill, and it was. You sure?
I mean, that was a camera. Huh? I thought it was a camera the whole time.
This?
Yeah.
All right. You know what I'm gonna say. What am I gonna say?
Talk loud.
What am I gonna say, Leah?
Talk loud.
Talk loud. All right. I think you guys are in for a real surprise here. I talked to Andre already. It flows. It's pretty impressive, but we just gotta be able to hear you. All right. Whenever you're ready.
All right, and we're back to ping.
All right. Nobody knew what to do. We love it. We're not laughing. We're like so excited is what is happening. Right? We are so excited to hear your voice. All right, let's get back. Same energy. Reset that clock. No, look. See, he's trying to like, he's in the competition. Reset it. Bring that same level of energy and enthusiasm. We love it. All right.
All right, and we're back to Ping Pong Podcast, and we have Leah. We reached out to her recently to talk about her new company, Naturalia. So, Leah, how are you moving the needle with your new company?
You see, here at Naturalia, we kind of reach out to our customer and ideate what is best for them and their skin. We think outside the box with ingredients that will not cause any allergic reactions. We try to pick the low-hanging fruit and deep dive into what best works for them to kind of go through our message and create an impact into their skin.
Could you amplify that a little bit more for me, please?
Yes, you see, we unpack our products with natural ingredients to kind of have a bleeding edge and drill down into what works for them. We're not like natural other products. We engage with the employees and empower for them to also use our products and have a great disruption using natural products. So when they FaceTime somebody, their skin looks flawless in a fast tracking and flexible, way that they'll be surprised.
Wow, you really drilled down into that really deep dive.
Well, you see, Andre, this is the impact and the pain that Naturalia has on each customer.
Nice.
Andre, I want to ask you a question. You see, I ideate with my customers, and I want to see what is your way of doing your company, because I know you have your own company called Fake. So please, Nant, and have a little dialogue about what it is that makes Fake so real.
Yeah, so I really had to think outside the box for this one. I just sometimes I go to the wheelhouse, help my
All right, you gotta stop me there. Wow. All right.
Wow. It's been Andre isn't here today to hear
27? 27.
Oh, I have a
Little game going here. Little game going here.
27 to beat. Very nice.
Nice job. Sorry, this is actually acting up a little bit on you guys. I
Do
gotta.
that when you do your pretend you're up at the
Boy, I just started writing down that. So be prepared to look at that.
Yeah, no, there is. So I don't mark them down if they don't make any sense. So just that's fair. If you use a word that doesn't make any sense and like if you just start listing, which is not what has happened, right? So like a few are kind of like out there. Like let me just list off of here. They think they found a loophole. They did not. I'm pretty discerning here. I am marking down what makes sense. If you're just listing buzzwords, it ain't gonna work. We have Houston. We have a problem. Give me 1 second. Internet's down in like dodo bird.
This is not a fair competition.
Jody, check my Chromebook right there and see if it.
What's that?
So check my Chromebook right there. See if the Wi-Fi's down. See if I have Wi-Fi.
Check it. Check. 1, 2. Check.
Turn Wi-Fi on. Oh, we're back. And we're back to this.
We're
week's
live.
edition.
Power of love overcomes power.
Where buzz is the word.
Power of love overcomes the love of power. The world will know peace.
Jimi
No
Hendrix.
Peace, no justice. No peace, no justice. No peace, no justice. No peace, no justice. That's my take on today's quote that Sean provided on his screensaver. Thank you, Sean.
All right, let me speed it up a little bit.
Are you gonna make it really fast and see what words we can pick out in it?
So this is Sean's speed.
All right.
This is everybody else's speed. All right, which speed you want?
I'll go with the second speed right there. Keep it at that.
Bucketize. We've really got to put these in different buckets so we can understand what it is we're doing. All right, hold on. No name. Sorry, I didn't know if we had a name there for the show. The Sean and Brian show. You can tell us what it is.
Brian.
All right.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to Biz World, where we interview people in different corporations. I'm here with Sean, the CEO and founder of Charisma. Sean, how do you feel like your company has a big impact on the card industry?
I definitely feel that it's our incentive for our core competency for our employees and stuff like that. We really move with the needle on our cards. Creating new ideas every day and really unpacking the creativity that we have in our business.
That's very nice. How do you and your company think outside of the box, and how do you guys unpack those ideas in your conference and meetings?
During our meetings we're very dysfunctional, but that emotional leakage from our employees really, really pour into our cards. And in the end of the day, when we make those cards and we're in those meetings, it's very, ping to our love for the people.
Very nice. By the way, if anyone who's listening, you guys should get one of his cards with love. I got my Cat Bubba one, and she absolutely loved it. How do you and your company deal with disruption, for example, in the office when someone has a paper cut? I know those are very severe injuries that can cause death.
Well, a lot of people, they don't think, that paper cuts are a very dangerous thing in the workplace, but they are, so we really have to think outside the box by using Band-Aids and gauze and Neosporin, things like that. So, yeah.
How do you feel like you have a deep dive? Like, do you go into a really good brainstorm and start coming up with different ideas, or
All right,
is it really
my people.
difficult?
Nice job. Very solid, respectable 15 buzzwords dropped into that show. 15 buzzwords.
I'm actually about to start that podcast now.
All right.
This activity, I'm wondering how much of a success was it.
Yo, I'm good. Okay, what's the God's one? Sorry.
I was just paying attention.
Whenever you're ready, Liam is.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello and welcome to the my Dysfunctional Show. I'd like to welcome a guest from Carlita Savon. So Carlo, tell me, what is your wheelhouse?
Our wheelhouse is authentic in Guatemalan and Ecuadorian food. We cater big to small events.
Tell me about the impact of your food catering business.
Our food catering business feeds all types of people, so vegan, vegetarian, people who eat only potatoes, we feed them all.
So what is your mission?
Our mission is to give everybody an authentic feel and a cultural experience through food.
Yeah, your company is Bleeding Edge. It's rare to see a Guatemalan and Ecuadorian catering business.
Yeah, my company is very outside the box.
So how do you plan on drilling down your menu?
I still have to unpack, so my menu is still in the making, but I plan on drilling it down eventually.
Do you think if you can't make an impact, you'll cause this? No. How do you reach out to your customers?
I reach out to my customers by being very deliberate. So I work very hard on my, putting my name out there.
Do you have any employees?
You're my employee.
I didn't know you were putting me in that position.
You're welcome.
What do you make your priority in your business?
A priority to my business is to give the customers the best food they can get.
The best quality?
Yes, the best quality.
What reaction do you think you'll get from people when they find out that you're a Guatemalan and Ecuadorian?
All right, that's it. Great job. You got 14 on the board. 14 on the board. All right, and these are our second to last shows, Layla and Giselle.
I didn't tell you to put them on my suit.
There's a tie.
Oh,
So the
yeah.
tie to beat is 27.
Video, huh? Wait, do you want it this way or this way?
This way. Landscape. No, landscape.
This way?
Yes.
So,
Is it on us now?
It's on you.
All right. All right, so welcome for all the listeners listening to Serious Business Talk. We have here Giselle Vasquez from Bake My Day to come and talk about, give us a good deep dive of her business. So would you like to just, tell us how you've been reaching out and starting?
Good morning, everyone. So here at Bake My Day, we try to make the biggest impact possible with our customers. We're always trying to cater to customers that have a variety of different allergies and dietary needs. So for example, I know that you're gluten-free, Layla, so we got you. You can stop by the bakery anytime you want. We're really trying to cause a disruption in all this gluten-filled market. And we really want to deep dive into being able to give our customers the best baked goods possible by utilizing our core competencies and incentivizing our employees to do the best that they can.
Okay. I hear you there. So you gave a really well-worded response, and I think our viewers are going to be very interested. So I just really want you to just unpack all the ideas that you have here at your business. How are you really, we'll get there. How are you just really deep down into just reaching out and marketing yourself and marketing your food?
Well, we try to live on the bleeding edge. We use Web 2.0 to get ourselves out there within a reasonable time frame. We're world class out here. And we really do our best to ideate new ways to advertise to our customer base. So we're constantly coming up with new ways to reach our consumers and unpack what it means to be a bakery that serves people with all these different allergies. We're trying to be a wheelhouse.
Yeah, so can you just describe some low-hanging fruit that you have?
Well, we serve a lot of pastries with strawberries, blueberries, mangoes.
Fantastic.
There's a lot of fruit.
I was talking about the actual low-hanging fruit.
We put 17 on the board. 17 on the board. All right. The scores to be, we got two 27s on the board. We got Andre and Leah, and we got Mookie and Debut. And we've now got Gabriel and Liam coming up. I'll be the official timekeep. I think I know how to use this.
I hope.
Get my notes out here.
Whenever you want.
Good morning, and welcome back to the Internet Radio Show. I'm here with Gabe. Gabe, I really want to drill down on the impact you're having on the origami world. How are you causing such a disruption?
Well, to see Liam, origami is my wheelhouse. It's just something I do without even thinking about it. And to get rid of that low-hanging fruit out there about origami and this bland thing, origami is more than just planes, cranes, and fortune tellers. It can be so much more. It can be more fun and creative.
Well, Gabe, I'd really like to amplify your message to our listeners. How could we incentivize them to maybe take on origami?
Well, they have to think outside of the box and to get into that rich Japanese culture of the paper folding art of origami.
So you're pretty customer focused, I'd say.
Yes, I am.
That's interesting. Now, origami being made of paper, it's pretty consistently deliverable, isn't it?
Yes, because it's never out of pocket.
Kind of a dog and pony show.
Indeed.
But you could say you're doing less with more, or more with less.
Yes.
Interesting. Doesn't sound dysfunctional at all. Thanks for reaching out to me to come on the show here, Gabe. When you pinged me, I didn't realize that I would want to take you on the show, but I did a bit of a deep dive, and you really do have some good core competencies. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about those?
Well, I just strive for my excellence because I'm really experiencing other folks to actually try origami for themselves.
You get that real FaceTime with your customers, don't you?
And the fact of the matter is that when I do origami, I feel more relaxed, the anxiety just rushes away. And
you got a good framework for your business there, bud.
It's future-proof.
It is, isn't it? Future-proof. You got a good game plan, Gabe. Well, let's analyze this gap here. I'm sorry, let's get on the bus to analyze this gap. Get our ducks in a row. How profitable is origami?
Well, origami is growing in the business. It's something that people like to buy because it's to decorate, and it's just fun to look at.
You're a bit of an origami guru. I like it.
All right. You slipped that one in there.
What do we got?
Yeah, they might have taken the cake. They're at 29 or 30. All right. Nice job, nice job. All right, so do we want to leave it there or do we want to go singles? We want singles? Who wants to play singles, wants to go up 1 minute on their own? Straight buzzword, Bobby.
I want to see you go.
Andre's going. Who's going head to head with Andre? We got Andre on the board. We got Liam. Come on. What would be a reasonably good prize that I could put on the line? What would like incentivize you?
Money. I need gas to get home.
Straight cash.
Maybe like $5.
Okay, $5. All right, there's a $5 prize on the board. Anybody want to play? Andre,
can we make it 10?
All right, Sean's on. Mookie's on.
Oh, Mookie's
gonna
take this. Mookie's famous cookie.
Yeah, we can take a break. Yeah, let's take a break now. Get your words together. Wait, Andre, Liam, Giselle, Sean, Mookie, you got 5
what am I
seconds
talking?
to participate.
Well,
1,
is it the same principle?
2, 3, 4, 5. Gabe, you're not in?
No.
All right. So 5 people. Oh, I'll enter.
No!
I think I'll get in there.
Like 30 seconds.
Okay. Why don't we do? Hold on. How you doing over there? You good? Okay. Why don't we get our competitors in a line? Why don't we just line up?
Their hands are really hard.
I'm sorry. I've jumped.
Line up in the order. We're gonna do this
I
quick.
jumped.
Liam, you mind bringing that phone over here?
It doesn't feel like a Friday.
I know.
I caught myself on Monday. I sucked at
It's too windy and cold to be a Friday.
All right, everybody, eyes up forward. Let's get through this so we can move on. This is still gonna be fun.
How we're standing.
We got $5 on the line. We got Giselle up number 1. I'm gonna give you a 5-second grace period. So you've got 1 minute and 5 seconds. If you're in the middle of saying something, I'm gonna cut you off at that final thought. So, what speed you want? Is that a good speed? You want a little quicker? All right. Let me go up here. Good speed, a little faster. What do you want?
A little faster.
All right.
trying to get into the video.
All right. So.
You look like Christmas.
Oh my God! Stop.
Okay. So you can begin whenever. Why don't you step up?
Here.
You step where? Yep. Perfect. All right. Quiet on the set. When you start talking, I start rolling.
Okay. Starting now. Welcome to Talking About Business for You. Business for You is the podcast where different businesses come to talk about what they're here to do for you. They come to address their benchmarks, what their best practices are, what the big picture is, and how they're going to dive deep into their business ideas. Here, we want businesses to advertise themselves and tell us about their brainstorming, their branding, and everything that has to do with creating the brand identity that they have. We want to amplify the impact that businesses have within our communities. We want to be able to learn about that low-hanging fruit that they have so that we can see how they use these catalysts to close in those smaller deals. We want to reach out and see what they are doing to client wire and see how to improve the community. We want to see how they're collaborating with the youth in the community, and we also want to hear about what compelling customer reports they have. We want to see what competencies they have and how credible they are. We want to see how their corporate synergy is. We want to see how they incentivize their employees. Okay.
All right. Whew. All right. Nice job. I'm going to keep the totals quiet. Should I keep the totals quiet?
No.
Let's keep the totals quiet.
Give that suspense.
All right. And so Liam is our next victim competitor.
Oh, you're sitting. Okay.
Well, it's a podcast.
You can stand and do a podcast.
All right, come on.
Welcome back to the Internet Radio Show. We have a very special episode here today. We are going to dive a little deeper into the origins of this podcast. When I started this podcast, I saw it as a very low-hanging fruit. I had to think outside the box to ideate this thing. But once I unpacked it, man, it was on the fast track. Fast track. The front end of the business is a podcast. Out the back, we sell live animals. Our game plan is to expand into the market of nearly extinct animal trade. We really want to amplify the terrible atrocities and grow our revenues because of them. I find to be the idea is only half pregnant with the animals because we really do have to have a dialogue about it. We can't just be out here herding cats and reselling them.
And scene.
That was awful.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. We should have enough. We're still on the eyes over here, so we got enough room. All right, Sean. Whenever you're ready.
Oh my god.
I like how you're getting your hair braided. Alright, hi, my name's Sean McGonigal and welcome to Business Talk, and this is our podcast on what different businesses and how, business life is like. Business really makes, it's very leadership rounded, it's very impactful, most of the things our podcast does is tries to reach out to other business owners and try to get them, a little informational about the logistics and long terms of how things work around the business life. Usually you don't get low risk; it's very high risk during business because you never know when your business is gonna fail. Sometimes you really got that low hanging fruit that gives you the mindset that just keeps you for giving you that incentive that you need. Just all those moving parts going around, working, all that fun stuff. My wheel area right now is just talking because I don't know what else to say, We really are.
That's a minute. All right,
there we go.
Andre the Quiet. Whenever you're ready. You good here? You're on O's. I think you gotta have enough for that.
All right, and we're back to Ping Pong Podcast. We're just gonna dive right into it. Now, where were we last time? Well, we were talking about my business and how I unpack all my packaging, and I just go straight to the warehouse and reach out to all my employees, and it really impacts them internally. And it's really bleeding edge, really. I just want to tell you how I'm gonna amplify and distribute everything out. Push the and how I'm gonna grow and and the quality of all my products and address the issues that I have with my business. And allegedly all hands meeting all new brands and analyzing everything around me, really taking everything in, learning a lot of things.
All right.
Woo!
Who's next? Oh, you know who's next.
Yay.
Hold on.
All right, everybody. Thank you for being here and listening to Johnny Gibberish, where the gibberish turns to jingles. I'm here to talk about the big picture and how I will be brainstorming and how I feel I am a bleeding edge and how what I am doing could bucketize the whole business silo. I want to buy into the podcast business because I feel like the cash is natural online. Me not being who I am and doing a podcast would be as pointless as trying to nail Jello to a tree. I'm a client focused on people who like to simply hear gibberish. I will be coaching gibberish and collaborating with gibberish people. Yeah, I'm done.
No, keep going. You got time.
All right, so I'm putting up a compelling argument on why I'm not done, because my core competencies will not let me sit here and not talk crazy. The whole platform of my podcast would be on the streets preaching gibberish to a new culture and how cutting edge gibberish can make a good impact. And I'll really deep dive, and I'll take a deep dive into how.
Alright, Brandon.
Oh, is it mine?
It is.
All right, Sean, I'm coming for you. You want to? I'll sit too.
Yeah, no. Can we record you?
Sure. Hello and welcome back to this week's edition of Buzzword Bobby. We're going to be talking about excellence because there's a lot of slippage that's happening and it's really happening at an exponential rate. So we really got to make sure we facilitate some FaceTime because matter of factly, we got to put this business on the fast track. Look, I made a flow chart so that we can see the framework. You can delineate between the front end functionalities and then the fusion on the back end so that it's future proof. Now look, I made a great game plan and it's got all the gap analysis. So if you don't get on the bus and give 110% and think that the glass is full, we're never going to globalize this company. We need to go the extra mile. We're goal-oriented. We've got to be setting goals. We need to grow the business. We've got to grow revenues. These are the principles, people. Come on, we're the business guru. Now, look, this is not a half-pregnant idea. We have a great amount of dialogue, and I need everybody's heads up. There's a headwind coming, and we don't have time for a health break. We've got to do the heavy lifting to herd the cats to make sure we have a holistic approach. And look, it's not about ideation. It's about impact. We've got to implement in the front of the bus and in the market.
A minute.
I'm telling you.
Okay,
just that big
All right, Sean, you're up.
All right, let's do it.
I just went.
Yeah, Sean, I got a top.
Let me know when.
He's never talked about that.
Welcome to today's episode of Chit and Chat. Today we'll be speaking about Chit and Chat's keywords. So we want to know about knowledge-based companies, knowledgeable, manageable companies, companies that have leadership, companies that have very good managers, they have leading edges, lean, mean. Let's not boil the ocean, let's sharpen our pencils, level set and leverage literally incorrect using in the place of figuratively living document logistics, and also long-term with low-hanging fruits. They definitely, companies that are very low risk, have high yields, make and acts matrix used as verb, mentoring, methodology,
Use it in a sentence, bro.
And they also have the same mind share. Mission critical, mission statements, monetarize, moralize, moving parts, multitasking myself, and nailing the jello to a tree. We use napkins, negative growth, net profits. We are very future-proof, networking, nimble. And that'll be it for today's episode of Chit and Chat.
All right, so
I don't think that worked. I was supposed to explain.
I'm pretty
that the
sure Brendan
customers-
talked all of
well, so I'm obviously this is a classroom.
No, Brandon won.
Giselle wins 23
Giselle won?
Buzzword Bobbies. We got 23.
Oh.
We got 17, 12, 14. Where's Andre? 14, 17. And I'm not really sure how to rate that last one because there was a lot of listing. So you were up there. You had probably 15, 20 legitimate ones. So
Yeah, I just talked about it.
all right, nice job. Round of applause. So why Buzzword Bobby? Why?
Get us thinking on our feet.
Just cause, yeah.
Thinking on our feet.
So, I want to bring this back in for a second. So, Liam says for thinking on our feet, right? I heard someone say, that's an O. I was at a talk the other night, and someone said, I don't really like this word innovation. I'm a bigger fan of the word improvisation. Now, I don't not like the word innovation, but I really liked what she said about innovation being improvisation. You don't know what's coming next. You don't know what you're going to have to say. You really don't know the question that you're going to get asked. So being comfortable in front of people, using words that might not feel the most comfortable, but having and growing a command of those words, right? So like, don't go up there and use words you don't know. That's actually a big It's a big deal. You'll sit down with us and we'll go and we'll help you write a pitch at times. And we'll put words in there that you might not know. It's your job to ask. Yeah.
Okay, so what does "let's not boil the ocean" mean? I just feel
Yeah. Okay, this is a good one. What does "let's not boil the ocean"? If I had to guess, I mean, I don't have the master key, but
Is it like let's not try to delve into a point that's too wide to be covered?
too big, right? Like, how much energy does it take to boil the ocean?
So much.
So too much energy. Like, let's not sit here in this meeting try to boil the ocean and do something that's crazy, right? Like, do something that's too much work that will never get accomplished in this classroom or this meeting, right?
Okay.
It's a good one. Yeah. I've never used that one.
Have you ever used "let's not nail Jello"?
I've never used "let's not nail
That
Jello
makes
to a
sense.
tree."
That makes sense.
It does,
It
but
makes
also
sense,
who
right?
came up with that?
I don't know, but it makes
Somebody
sense.
came up with that, right?
Exactly.
That's not real Jello.
Yeah, you freeze it, then you nail it then. Yeah, if you freeze the Jello,
Yeah, but
you
it'll
nail it
melt.
to the tree.
Even if it's unfrozen, you can still nail it.
Actually,
No, but it's gonna fall off the nail.
What's the
Frozen
purpose
Jello.
of nailing Jello to the tree, though?
Well,
like,
That's a good analogy.
what's the analogy? What's it
You
trying to
can't
say?
nail Jello to a tree because it's just gonna fall off the nail.
You know, I'll figure it out and make a.
let's not try to do something
Jello's gonna
useless.
fall.
How you-
Again, it
Jello
comes back to
will
let's not try to do something useless. Like, this is an impossible task.
It's not.
It's too slippery. It moves too much.
I will nail Jello to a tree.
If you guys want to experiment with nailing Jello to a tree, I'm happy. All right,
I'm
so
pretty sure you run the mesh and have Jello residue on it.
you go, keep going. I'm fine.
No, we're back. We're back.
So that's all. Innovation, improvisation. Be comfortable with the improvisation. Be comfortable asking for the words that you might not know the answer to or that you might not know the definition of. Are there any buzzwords from this class, any buzzwords in that business plan deck that you've uncovered so far that you're thinking, and remember, buzzword, we can define it loosely, but the idea is that it's very specific to an industry. Like gluten-free, funny enough, gluten-free in the world of cooking, that's a buzzword, right? It means something. All these things have a meaning, but in the world of cooking, gluten-free, plant-based, plant-forward, these are buzzwords that are like trying to describe something bigger. Are there any buzzwords in the business plan, terminology that you're not familiar with or want to ask questions about? My guess is you're going to say, nah, I'm good. I want to go back to that business plan, which, by the way, your first 10 slides are due today, right? Woo! So those should all be shared with me. I'm going to be checking them after this class. They should all be shared with me. Yeah, Brian?
Will we meet after this class?
Absolutely. The answer is always yes. The answer is always yes. Yeah.
Can I get a meeting after you're done with Brian?
Absolutely. The answer is always yes.
Okay.
Okay. So I want to go through the next 3 slides. Yeah. Yeah. If they're shared with me from last time, as long as you're not doing a different document. Yep.
Wow, that's a nice spot to be in.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question. I can do a mini business lesson on synergy, or we can go skip right ahead to the 3 slides in the business plan.
Yeah, let's do that.
Who wants to skip ahead to the next 3 pages? Who wants to, raise your hand, next 3 pages, raise it.
If you brought up
We're gonna go to both of them anyhow, but who wants to break it up with a little bit of a thing? Synergy. So 3 hands for the next 3 slides.
Oh, that would.
1, break it up. Okay, we'll go synergy. Give me your definition of synergy again.
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Are you sure?
Someone want to help you out?
You said like people working in unison in a company or something. That's what
Right,
you said.
that's what you said, right? Something about people working together in unison. I'm gonna give you this equation. So the reason I'm doing this, you're gonna hear synergy all the time in the business world. Half the class heard it, nobody knows what it means. People are always gonna be talking about synergy, and every time you hear it, just smile, right? Because it's really a bigger representation of, oh, you're doing that thing where you use big words, and my guess is you might not really even know what that big word is. So smile every time you hear the synergy, and know that this is what synergy means. 1 plus 1 equals 3. You're looking at me like, Brandon, you got to go back to math class, right? If you bring this to your math teacher, they're not going to understand, or not that they're not going to understand, they're just going to say that's wrong because 1 plus 1 equals 2. The idea of synergy is if I take this thing and I take this thing, putting them together, they become stronger than each of the parts. So if I take this hook, and this hook made of metal can hold 50 pounds. So it holds 50 pounds before it breaks. And then I take this metal, and I put it together, and it holds 25 pounds. I add them up, they can hold 75 pounds. But if I put them together, they end up holding 100 pounds. You put two things together that have the different strengths, and when they come together, the sum of their parts is bigger. So we see this all the time in business. I was thinking about examples of synergy to make this actually relevant for you. But if I give you a database, Giselle, full of all the information on where sexual assaults have occurred in all of New England, I give you this database full of data. What you have is a database. What do you need to pair that database with to make it worthwhile? What do you need to do with that database?
Actually make it functional so that I can have it translate to the server, which would then translate it to the app so that users can actually interact with the data. Because the data by itself is useless.
The data by itself is useless. And what's the buzzword in computer science? It begins with an A. What's the buzzword in
Algorithm?
You need an algorithm. I take an algorithm, I take some function, and I have a database, and I give it an algorithm, and it gives me good information out. You're a chef, right? Cooking is the ultimate synergy. If I take flour, water, and a little bit of yeast, and I put them all on the table, but then I put them together and I make bread, that's a lot different than the sum of its parts, right? So you're looking for synergy out there. You're looking for the things that you can combine together, and this is what Steve Jobs, in that quote, is talking about. As you move through the world, you're going to start having these experiences. You're going to start learning stuff. You're going to start bumping into stuff. And you're not going to know when this one and this one are going to end up to be 3. So synergy is really the idea. So if you're in a boardroom meeting, oh, we've really got some good synergies between this business. It's I'm taking one and I'm taking another one and I'm putting together, and they're bigger than the sum of their parts. So that's synergy. But here's the deal. I bring it up for a bigger reason. Because synergy is the greatest tool that we all have. Meaning, if I was to tell you, and I'm going to go off the rails right now. If I was to tell you that we're trying to make the world work for everybody, for all 100% of all the people on the planet. If I say to you, our job, our challenge is to make the world work for everybody. What do I mean by make it work? Everybody's got somewhere to live, everybody's got food, they got clothes, they got education, and they can move around the world and they feel safe. If I tell you that I'm trying to make the world work for everybody, are you going to say, that's impossible? Or are you going to say, oh, we can do it? Who here says, it's a good goal, it sounds nice, but it's impossible? Truly what you feel inside there. Here's another buzzword that appeared on there. You're going to hear this buzzword all the time. Oh, that's the paradigm. That's the existing paradigm. We've got to shift the paradigm.
Isn't it spelled with I lied.
Is there a G in there?
Yeah, I thought
Paradigm.
it was an S. My bad.
Here's what the paradigm is. It's the thing you think about before you think about it. It's the thing that's already in your head before you even think about it. If I tell you the world can exist without money, you got, it's impossible. It's like the world and money go hand in hand. It's the thing that I already have in my mind. It's what some people might call
A pre-existing notion.
a pre-existing notion or the status quo. It's just the way things are. It's the way things are. Told you I'm going to go off the rails on you. 1805. Don't worry. It's interesting, I promise. In 1805, Thomas Malthus, He's a political economist. He goes out into the world, and he's the first person to ever complete a world-around circuit looking at all of the resources in the world. 1805, first time somebody goes around and looks at all the resources in all the countries. He was sent out there by the Dutch East India Trading Company, the people that started the modern corporation. It's the corporations that are doing it. The first big corporation sends this guy out, and he comes back and he says, I got something to tell you. 1805. I got something really important to tell you. Population is growing like this. It's growing big. A lot of people having babies. It's growing exponentially. It's growing exponentially. We got a problem. Our resources, we're bringing them out of the ground in a straight line. He comes back and he tells the corporations, there's not enough to go around, people. We got to make sure we get it. We got to make sure we take all the stuff. Population is growing too fast. The resources coming out of the ground are going at a straight line. He creates the paradigm that is, I ask you all, is there enough to go around? Can we make the world work for everybody? 1805, they ran the colleges. They ran the corporations. They ran the businesses. 1805. 5 years later, I'm going to end it here. 5 years later, they create copper wire. And they start sending signals. All of a sudden, I don't have to send mail to you around the world. I can start to send you signals. It's the very beginning of the technological revolution that is essentially the internet. Thomas Malthus created this whole paradigm of, look, there's just not enough. The population's growing too fast. There's not enough resources on the planet. We got to get ours, and if we don't get ours, we got to go to war. And then 5 years later, you're laughing because you're reading it. 5 years later, we essentially invent copper wire, send the first signal, and all of a sudden the world changes, but we haven't caught up with it. There is enough stuff to go around, and it only gets accomplished through synergy of you going out there as entrepreneurs and connecting the dots. We can talk afterwards about this, but if you don't believe that there's enough physical resources on the planet to go around for all 100% of the people on the planet, you're crazy. You're wrong. I have to tell you. They told us this in 1805, there's not enough to go around. That's what they told us. It's been a 200-year paradigm, even more. There's a whole bunch of evidence, there's a whole bunch of proof that we can make it happen, and it happens through synergy. It happens through taking disparate things as entrepreneurs come together and solve problems and make the world work for everybody. That's why synergy is the most important tool, and that's why all the business people who say synergy have absolutely no idea what synergy actually really means. They think it's our corporate boardroom is working really well together, right? You can have teams that work well, they can work synergetically, but it's bigger than that. I'm done, I'm off the rails, I'm stepping off the soapbox, I'm done. Let's get to the next 3 slides. But that's synergy, that's the big buzzword, that's the one that you guys should be thinking about all the time. How am I gonna do more with less? How am I gonna connect the dots as an entrepreneur to solve problems? I gotta pull up the next 3 slides. Anybody got any comments on that? Who here believes me? Who here thinks, nah, we really can't do it?
Is it ever going to happen, though, is the question.
Yeah, it is. If you keep thinking like that, it's not going to happen. That's what they want us to think. That's the paradigm.
I don't control natural resources.
George Soros does.
So, you don't control natural resources, but what do you control?
Yourself.
Yeah, yourself.
Let me ask you, so you're asking a good, or you're making a good point. So physical resources, I'm telling you there's enough physical resources to go around.
It's about distribution.
But it absolutely is. It's about production and distribution, right? And how do you get the things to those people that need those things? But if I was to give you a giant hunk of metal, and I say, here you go, Mookie. Here's a bunch of copper. Here's a bunch of steel, which by the way is 2 metals put together, 2 materials. Here's a bunch of iron. Can you do anything with it? As it is right there? What do you got to do with it? What do you got to go find?
Someone who can.
Someone who can. And what are they going to use it?
Tools
They're tools
that somebody else made.
That somebody else made, and they're going to use their mind to actually make those physical resources, those materials work. So you got this. You might not have physical resources at the moment, but you got this.
Yeah.
And without this, a bunch of rock is just a bunch of rocks.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of wood. It's just a tree. I got to figure out what to do with it, right? So you do have that. There really is enough. I hate to break it to everybody. It kind of sucks once you learn it because then you go, oh man, now I got to think about that all the time. There really is enough to go around, and we can talk about all of the proof and all of the evidence around it, but it's pretty crazy. It's all about synergy for you guys. Okay. Qualifications, we did that. What do I ask for qualifications? How many?
3.
3? Did I ask for 3 for the thing? For Nifty, you need 5. So start writing that down. You need to have 5 qualifications. And remember, this is kind of like that direct and indirect. You've got things that are directly related to your business, and then you've got qualifications that are totally indirectly related.
Thank you.
Who wants to throw out an indirect qualification for their business? Mookie.
Old Navy.
Old Navy. You just go up on the stage and you look at the judge and you say, hey, judge number 1, Old Navy.
Like a recovery expert at Old Navy.
I don't know what a recovery expert is.
Someone who like refolds the clothes to make the store look presentable.
Okay. I make one of the largest stores in the mall look presentable every day. It's my job and I do it really well. Now you might not think that it's directly related to me knowing how to clean cars, but I take that same level of care, that same level of detail, and I apply it to what I do for my own company, if not more so. You've got to tell them that story. Give me another indirect.
Busboy experience at restaurants.
Why?
Because you got to do a lot. There's a lot of running around, and you kind of got to be everywhere. And you got to get there's a lot to do, and it has to be done in a short amount of time, but it all has to be done right.
Great. Great. Don't assume who here has been a busboy or a bar back or anything like that. Who here has worked in a restaurant?
That's hard. It's really hard.
It is not.
So don't assume that everybody knows how hard it is, right?
Yeah.
So when you say it, make sure you tell the story of why you think that that's an important qualification. Anybody else want to throw one out there?
Babysitting.
Babysitting.
I have to deal with customers, and if I have enough patience to deal with a 1-year-old, I'll have enough patience to deal with the customer.
Right. Not only do I have someone bring that home even more. So you have the patience to deal with a 1-year-old, you do a good job, so you know you've done a good job, you've taken good care, you're patient, trust. Well, how do you mean?
So if somebody's trusting you to take care of their baby, pretty sure you can take care of a responsibility. Yeah.
So you're taking care of
a 1-year-old.
The most important thing in someone's life, their baby. So if people will trust me with their child, you've got to imagine you can trust me with this event. I mean, nothing's more important than taking care of this kid, and I do it very well. Now, someone might say, like, okay, that doesn't mean every babysitter can be a chef, right? Oh, by the way, not every babysitter can be trusted, right? But not every babysitter can be a chef. But the point is you're saying, I've created trust with others. And that trust comes over into my business. It doesn't make me a better caterer in terms of what my food tastes like, but there's that level of trust. Anybody else? So I want 5 qualifications. 5 qualifications. And when I say I, Nifty does. So you want to make sure that you can check the box that says, is that where we are?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That is giving me.
This is great. I get to say a bad word. I love it.
Gross.
Swag.
What?
It's an acronym. It's not how you use it.
I don't use it.
Swag.
Nobody uses it.
Swag. What's
what
it mean?
What is a swag?
You're
gonna look at
type
it.
Of walk.
That's swagger, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. I'm going to make some projections on how many units I'm going to sell.
So I think that S stands for sales.
You think that S stands for sales? Here's what it stands for.
Or not.
Stupid,
Oh.
wild ass guess. You're going to make a stupid, wild ass guess. That is grounded in reality. Who here knows how many units they're going to sell next year? Truthfully. You can project. So these are sales projections. All right? Half of it is a stupid, wild ass guess. Like, here's me setting goals and projections for myself. And then the other side is there something in my business? And here are some terms for you. You could call them buzzwords if you wanted. We can just call them words. Cyclical and seasonal.
They mean different things.
Cyclical. It's like a wheel, a cycle. It comes at the same time every year. It comes at the same time every year. There are cyclical patterns. Every 4 years, what happens in our democracy?
You get a new president.
We might get, I hope. Sorry.
There's an election.
There is an election, a bunch of people go vote, and then they leave, and we talked about this, I think, in this class, they leave with a little sticker, right?
I voted.
Every 4 years, everybody buys a bunch of I voted stickers. All the polling booths, somebody's making I voted stickers. Every 4 years, like clockwork, cyclical, about 100 million I voted stickers get sold. Who's in that business? That's cyclical. If I'm in that business and I'm selling stickers, and election year is in November, and I sell I voted stickers, you can be sure that I'm going to have a huge spike in my October sales. Okay? So think about things that happen in your world, in your business, that are cyclical. Jenzy, I'm going to put you on the spot. I have to. You have one of the most cyclical businesses in terms of what's cyclical. What happens at the same time every year for your business? Prom. Everybody's having prom at or around the same time every year. You know it's coming. You're going to have a big bump in sales. You're going to have a projection. So you're going to think about, okay, I should take a step back because I didn't really introduce this slide, I realize. This slide is essentially asking you, how many units are you going to sell in a year? And how many units are you going to sell each month? And maybe that was obvious, but maybe I skipped ahead too quick. This is saying, in January, how many cosplay swords are you going to sell? How many units of sale that you've picked in your plan are you going to sell? How many will you sell in February? And they want you to make projections around, here's what I think is going to happen so I can figure out how much money I think I'm going to make. The way it happens is based off of you setting goals for yourself and then also thinking through. And what I'll also say is, so that's cyclical. Here are your 3 words on this slide that are so important. Seasonal, pretty straightforward. 4 seasons, things happen. What happens at the beginning of fall, end of summer every year in terms of clothing?
School starts.
School starts, what happens? Who's selling what?
Back to school clothes.
Back to school clothes, you can believe that that's huge. Who else is ramping up?
School supplies.
School supplies, right? If who here has gone to the recycling center with me for the teacher stuff? There's a recycling center, they sell a bunch of like school supplies and materials for cheap. Someone should probably call me up in August and say, hey, can we go there and buy a bunch of back to school supplies so I can sell this stuff? Because you know it's coming, right? So seasonal, give me another example of something that's seasonal that you can predict related directly to your business.
Clothing in any manner.
So clothing is seasonal in
Yeah.
any manner. Each time the seasons change, the weather changes, people want to go and dress up differently.
A lot of offices have Christmas parties.
Great. So holidays. We've talked about Black Friday, haven't we?
Yeah.
Black Friday being the day that you go from the red to the black, meaning you're losing money. Most big retailers are losing money. They're in the red, and then they move over to the black. They start making money. That's something they're waiting on every year. Holiday season makes or breaks many of these big retailers. They're operating at a loss throughout the whole year, and then they move into the black. Okay? So, sure. So it's really, it's a metaphor.
That's where Black Friday originates from?
Yeah. So the thought is on their balance or on their income statement, which tracks all the money they're making and losing, they've got no profits. They're actually losing money. And when you're losing money, you put those numbers in red so your boss can see just how bad you're doing. Okay? So all the numbers are in red. Right around Black Friday, that Friday after Thanksgiving, is when shopping season begins for the holidays, right? That's what kicks off the big shopping event.
Yeah.
And the reason they call it Black Friday is because historically, that's been the day based off of sales when they sell enough to tip them out of the red and into the black, meaning profit. They change the numbers on their income statement to be, they're positive now, so they get written in black ink.
But how is this possible? Like everything on Black Friday is on sale.
No.
Wait, they're still making money on you?
They size up.
Those son of a
They
guns.
go up with the prices like a couple of weeks, sometimes even a month before. They put prices up on certain things that you might want, and then on Black Friday they just go back to the regular price. A lot of stores do that.
Things don't get.
Things
don't get cheaper.
Yeah. So they're playing with prices like that, but even though they're selling to you at crazy discounts, not everything's at a. They have some things which are called loss leaders. You're all gonna fight for the 5 Wii's that we have, and then once you're there, you're gonna go get the other stuff. So they're selling a lot. They're doing, as these guys are saying over here, they're doing a lot of volume. So they might be making just a little bit of money on each one, but this is when they really ramp up the volume and they sell a lot. And they are making a profit on everything they sell you, for the most part. There are some things they use to get you into the store, but they only have a few of those. And then you gotta buy all the other stuff. Okay, holidays. You should all have a spike during the holiday season, I would think. Everybody's buying more stuff in the holidays. And then, here's the last thing I wanna talk about. Capacity. Leah, if a judge says to you, what's Naturalia's capacity to make, what's your lead product? What's your capacity for face wash in a given month? What am I asking you? How many can you physically make? Nothing is worse than you getting grilled by a judge, and this is how it plays out. Watch. You say you can sell 50 car details. I'm on you. You can sell 50 car details in a month. How long does it take you to detail a car?
A little bit over an hour.
So about an hour. So that's 50 hours. And then I ask you, how much time do you have to dedicate to your business each month? Well, I'm very busy at school, and I've got my job at Old Navy. So really, I think I can dedicate 30 hours a month to this business. If you don't know what you can actually dedicate to the business, how long it takes you to make your product, then you can't figure out, like, what's my capacity? How many buckyballs can I make in a month? They take a long time. Right? So you've got to figure out what your capacity is. And you really can't have any month that's over your capacity. So you're making projections based off of, I think this is going to be a really good month for my business based off of, I'm a really good gift. I make a really good gift. Wedding season is in the summertime. Graduation season.
Wedding season is in the spring.
Springtime, thank you for knowing much better than me what your business actually is, right? So springtime, graduation season towards the end of spring, right?
It's like the beginning of
Beginning
summer.
of summer. So these are moments. Are you busier on weekends or the week?
Weekends?
Probably weekends, right? You got more people going away on trips, right? These are the things you want to be considering as you make your projections. Okay, we got one slide now. That's it. Projections. You now know the terminology. You don't know how to make your projections until you sit down with me. One-on-one. Everybody's business is unique. I can't tell you what you're going to sell. But we've got to figure out what your capacity is. In order to do that, you better come to me knowing what your unit of sale is and how long it takes you to make your unit of sale. How long does it take to make what it is that you're selling? Enjoy lunch. I'm going to check everybody's slides. I'm going to send out a progress report today.